Okay, so Electrode is going to be today's special Pokemon. Of course, this is an alternative main glitchless classic speedrun of Pokemon Blue version. And what that means is instead of using Nidoking or anything like that, I'm going to be playing the game up until the earliest point that I can capture a Voltorb, and then I will eventually be evolving that into an Electrode. And so I picked Electrode just because, you know, it looks like a Pokeball. That's cool. You know, had to do them at some point, and I'm trying to route. I want to find Pokemon that are in interesting locations in the world. This is going to be my 6th run of these, whatever these are. I got a Pikachu here in Viridian. I was thinking, like, should I just catch this thing? But I didn't have any Pokeballs yet. This is going to be the 6th run of these main glitchless classic speedruns. Of course, I'm still learning how to even speedrun these games in the first place. So, you know, I'm kind of doing 2 things at once here. But I'm already in Brock's gym. I'm about to fight Brock. And I chose Bulbasaur, by the way, as my starter this time around. I feel like I've been neglecting Bulbasaur. I normally choose Squirtle. And pretty much I immediately remembered why. Bulbasaur is good, but really fucking slow. And so, like, the first, like, up until I get the Voltorb, up until that position, like, I'm just stuck doing this Leech Seed combo, and I'm regretting every second of it. So I apologize to all the Bulbasaur enjoyers, but I will probably be retiring Bulbasaur again for my next run. But either way, Brock wasn't too bad. It just took a long motherfucking goddamn time. And of course, now would probably be a good time to talk about the rule set for these challenge speedruns. And that is going to be single segment, which means no saving, no loading, no, you know, save and quit manipulation, no, you know, anything like that. Save right before the last fight and try it until you win. If I lose, I have to redo the Elite Four all over again, stuff like that. So no saving, no quitting, no loading. This is a single segment attempt here. Another rule is that I do kind of want to try to do minimum Pokemon. That's what I was thinking, getting this Bulbasaur, because Bulbasaur could learn Cut, so I was like, whatever. But that's like a really soft rule. I lost in Mount Moon, which was tragic to me. It was very, very sad to see. It's kind of like a soft rule. You know, that's one that's kind of up in the air. Another one is, of course, the alternative main rule set, which I'm kind of loosely, maybe not too loosely, following the speedrun.com category rules, which means you just want to capture the Pokemon as soon as possible with the minimum number of badges. So badges are usually the way that they mark progress here, rather than just overall fights, you know. I went up against Misty before doing the rival. I went to use the bathroom here. I used the bathroom during the fight so that the music would play. I'd get to hear the last half of the song instead of the first half. But because I have Bulbasaur, I figure, well, you know what, fuck it. I'll just take down Misty right away. And Misty is going to be the last gym badge we will be getting until we capture our new Pokemon. So I got the rare candy behind this guy's house because I finally remembered it existed. You know, one thing about these runs is, like, I'm learning the game as I go, of course, you know, without bogging this too far down. Here's the rival fight, by the way. Nothing too, you know, nothing. It's just, you know, it's a really easy fight with Bulbasaur, at least. Ivysaur, I should say. You know, I'm learning the game as I go. I haven't really played these games too much since I was younger. I kind of fell out of Pokemon when I was a teenager or so. I've played a ROM hack here or two since then. I don't play any of the new games because why would I bother? And so I'm kind of relearning these games. I'm not really looking too much up. I don't want to, like, you know, just spend like hours researching the games or anything. I kind of want to stumble upon things as I need to, or, you know, that kind of stuff. So I finally remembered about that rare candy, and now I'm going to incorporate it into my routes, because it's kind of just like right there, you know. It takes a little bit, you know, to step out there into the guy's backyard, go through 2 warp zones, but hey, it's kind of just right there. So And, you know, we're going all the way over to Bill's house. You know, nothing too special. The last major fight I'm going to be doing before I can capture the new Pokemon is going to be the third rival fight on the SS Anne. So, and there's another rare candy in the SS Anne, and I remembered that there was a rare candy in there, and then I did look up where it was. So I did incorporate that rare candy too into my route. But, you know, I don't really have any good, you know, grass moves here. So that hiker took me like 15,000 years. I kind of made it a point to, like, you know, I don't want to go back and heal. And you know what? I lost so much time here. Again, I'm not too good at running these games at the moment yet, especially in the early game. I'm figuring it out, okay? I promise. But another rule set here is I'm following the Glitchless Classic rule set, which means no major glitches, no doing things like Pokédoll on Marowak, that kind of stuff. Of course, Red and Blue are notoriously glitchy games, so what that means is, you know, there are going to be glitches that are going to happen, stuff like the badge boosting and that kind of stuff. You know, it's less of a glitch and more so just embedded into the game rules, so, you know, there's really no way that you can get around it. But, you know, you can't do that glitch where you, like, step on something, you fly around, and it just warps you to, like, the end of the game. Nothing like that. So, I do have to, there's the rare candy, by the way. I do have to go through the events in order that you should be doing so. And so, here we're fighting the rival. Again, the thing with Ivysaur is like a really good Pokemon. Just like when it comes to just raw winning, like Leech Seed is really good. I lost, by the way, there. So trying again. But Leech Seed is like really fucking good. It's just it takes fucking forever, right? So, you know, I am trying to make these speed runs. And that's another rule, is that these are played in single segment on a real machine, on a Super Famicom, Super Game Boy 2 adapter with a real authentic Pokemon Red or Blue cartridge, or Green. I played Green once already. I started with Green. And, so, you know, no, I'm not doing speed ups. I'm not doing any ROM hacks, stuff like that. You know, so, I do speed up the footage, of course, because, if you want to go watch the 5-hour, run or so, I do upload it onto another channel, where you can just watch the raw gameplay if you'd like. But, you know, for these commentary videos, you don't need to sit there and watch me do Leech Seed for 17 hours. But now I beat the rival, I got cut, and now I can finally go get my Pokemon, which is going to be, I'm going to catch a Voltorb right outside the power plant on Route 10. It's not right outside, but it is kind of right outside, you know. It's technically the same map file that has the power plant entrance, so fuck you, that counts. And so Voltorb, of course, evolves into Electrode. I think it's like level 30, I don't know. And so here we go, level 17, not a bad one. Going in there, I do have a burn, which is really frustrating, causing me some problems. I get, you know, this guy is Sonic Boom, which can be kind of annoying when it comes to battling this guy, because it does a lot of damage. And this burn is really causing me a crisis out, and I lose. I lose against a wild Voltorb, and it's causing me some stress. So I went and caught this one pretty easily. You know, level 14 instead of level 17. You know, that means just I got to do a little bit more swap training. I go into the rock tunnel in order to escape rope, warp back to Vermilion so that I could go do this gym. And the thing about Voltorb is Voltorb has no good fucking moves when you catch it. So really the soonest I can get a decent move on this guy would be to get Thunderbolt from Lieutenant Surge. And, you know, this is one of the things, like, this is one of the gray areas with the rule set here, is that it is an alternative main run, right? So, but there is that gray area when you catch the new main Pokemon, but then your starter is going to be over leveled, so then in a way you're kind of relying on the starter. So, like, can you really say that I beat Lieutenant Surge with the Voltorb? I don't know, it's kind of, but, like, hey, whatever. As long as it's participating in the battle, I believe technically that counts. But, you know, for my own personal reason, I'm not trying super hard to you know, make these runs. Speedrun.com verified. You know, so, I don't know, man. I might, you know, in some capacity, change my own personal rule set to just box the starter as soon as you get the main or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. It is kind of murky. It is kind of complicated. But whatever. All that yapping aside, managed to take out the Raichu and finally get a decent move on my Pokemon. So, from this point on, I'm trying to train up and I end up getting fucking destroyed by this Butterfree. I should, you know, I've had my problems with that Butterfree before, and I did not learn my lessons, and, wow. Anyway, so I'm trying to fight this hiker, get some more experience, whatever, man. And now it's time to go into Rock Tunnel. I've been having a lot of problems with Rock Tunnel. I don't know, it's just getting through Rock Tunnel without dying at least once. I don't know. For me, it's been rough. It's been difficult. You know, I just suck at this game. I don't know what else to say, and there's really just not much else to say. I kind of have the map memorized by this point, so that's not the problem. But the problem I often find myself running into is I get fucked by some of these hikers at the end with the exploders. And then you got these campers or juniors at the end also that have these slow pokes. You know, it causes me a lot of concern, let's just put it that way. And especially with my only good move with Voltorb being Thunderbolt, that doesn't really help me against hikers, so I end up losing. And then I run into the issue where, you know, I didn't buy enough repels, so then I run out of repels, and then I have to fight wild Pokemon. I think I did actually have enough repels this time around, because I did have that little bit of foresight that happens to me every time. So I did have that foresight. I did go in here. Going against these Pidgeys was pretty good because I had Thunderbolt. But again, at this point, you know, I am leveling up my Electrode. I named the Voltorb at this point E or you know, why not? Whatever, you know. Who cares? You know, I try to name everything at least one character. For a little bit, I was trying to name all my mains one thing, but, you know, I forgot when I did this. And so now we have the Electrode, and so... Anyway, blah, blah, blah. We made our way to Keladon. I went to the bathroom there. And now we're going into the Rocket Hideout. I managed to somehow catch myself into a little bit of a problematic location, I should say, in the Rocket Hideout. I go over here to get Double Edge and a Nugget. I really wanted the Nugget, but I wasn't sure if the TM actually worked. I'm pretty sure that one's Double Edge, right? I wasn't sure if it ended up working on... I didn't actually look up the moveset yet at this point, so I was like, I don't even know what works on this guy, but no, it does not work. And I end up losing a lot of health, so I decide to take the lift key, take the elevator to the first floor and exit. That way I clear those two guys out a little bit sooner than later, and then I travel over to the gym, because I'm like, well, the gym trainers, you know, shouldn't be too hard. And then I remember about the rap thing, and how could I forget about rap? You know, my first run besides Nidoking was a Victory Bell, and I used rap to win, and I always forget that the enemy can do that too. So I kind of ran into a little bit of a problem, not with Erica, but with Erica's gym. So then I ran away, got some fresh water, decided to catch a Spearow because I need to teach somebody Fly. So I catch myself a Spearow. There you go. I managed to go get Fly, and this time I've already got the third badge. I haven't had the third badge recently when I get to that point. Based on my routing decisions, but that time I did have the third badge so I could just fly around. And now I'm going to try against Giovanni. And again, like, these fights are not super difficult, but I had a little bit of problem with this one. My Voltorb is still pretty low. I do have a Venusaur at this point now. And again, we're at this weird point where it's like Venusaur's kind of doing the bulk of the work. But at the end of this, I got my Electrode, and so that's good. And I felt confident, so I went to go fight Erica, you know? I love ending my sentences with this very strange, staggering pattern. You ever notice people do that? Especially on the internet. It's when people recording videos like this run out of things to say, so they're struggling to come up with the next sentence, so they just start staggering their speech, and that seems to be the end of Erica. And alright, so I got the rainbow badge. Erica is going back to take another nap, and now we're on to Pokemon Tower. And so this is around the time... Now, again, this rival fight is notoriously easy. It's super easy. You know, I think technically you're really supposed to do this before you do the game corner. You're supposed to go into this area, fight the rival, then realize you can't actually get past the Marowak, then you search for the Silph Scope. But obviously, when you know that you need the Silph Scope, you know, you come here later, so that rival's always super underleveled where, based on where you are at that point in the game. But this is around the point where I realized, like, okay, Electrode, not bad. Like, Electrode's one-shotting a lot of these guys. and it had an easy time with the ghosts. So I'm like, alright, Agatha is probably not going to be too much of a concern. Get the Poke Flute. I fight this guy on accident. He's also got a Voltorb, which is pretty fun. He had two of them, actually. I run into an issue with that Magnemite, but hey, whatever. And it's around this point where I'm like, what should I do routing-wise? You know, I have my main Pokemon. They're at level 36, which means I could kind of do whatever. So I decide, you know what, I'm just going to do the Safari Zone. I'm going to get Surf. I'm going to get Strength. And maybe try Koga's Gym? Maybe? You know, like, I like to do Koga's Gym as soon as possible, but Koga does have, a kind of a scary team, you know, when you're doing it super early. And so I was like, well, I am in Fuchsia. You know, Electrodes, I'm feeling confident about Electrode, level 36, so fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and try this. And so I went ahead and tried Koga's Gym. Trainers weren't too bad. I managed to heal up a little bit, you know, whatever. And first try coughing, one shot, easy peasy. And by the way, I got double team in the Safari Zone. That's one of the reasons why I went to the Safari Zone first. And you know, I'm really kind of starting to feel skeptical about double team, because double team really does kind of feel like a cheat code. You know, like, once you use it once or twice, you pretty much win. And I used double team, so my evasion was super high. And then, you know, Weezing just self-destructed, you know. So Koga was basically free, super fucking easy. And then I went onwards and upwards to the 10th and the 5th and the 3rd floors of the Sylph Corporation Tower office headquarters building located in Saffron City. And here's the rival fight. So again, I still have Sonic Boom, which by the way only does, it's a hard lock on 20 damage. Similar to Dragon Rage being a hard lock on 40 damage. Sonic Boom, I still have it for this time period. I kind of don't know what I'm going to replace, you know, what my final moveset's going to be. But I finally get Swift, so I erase Sonic Boom. I was considering going to the power plant at some point, after I get Lapras, teach it Surf, get Thunder at the power plant. You know, Thunder's got lower accuracy, but I don't know, it's pretty good. This is what I was considering. I didn't know if just Thunderbolt and some elixirs would be enough to beat the Elite Four. So at this point I was like, should I go to the power plant? Should I get Thunder? Is that worth the trip? We'll find out. And so again, this rival fight was a little scary. I did have to use a lot of my items, and which I don't have a problem with, but I did eventually get the rival done. A little bit of a longer fight, but it was first try. I got myself a Lapras for Surf and Strength, and now I'm going to move on to finish this whole dungeon. It feels kind of weird to call it a dungeon. You know, it's a corporate tower, it's an office building, but hey, whatever, it's a dungeon. Electrode, again, really the major issue is going to be against Rhyhorn, stuff like that. I just, you know, I'm just using my normal attacks until I win. Not too bad. But it might pose a little bit of problem, especially the champion's Rhydon. And now we're into Cinnabar. We're in the Pokemon Mansion. The Pokemon Mansion's over so quick. I've been trying to buy some escape ropes ahead of time so that I don't have to exit a lot of these places. So I did escape rope out of there. Went to the bathroom here. I've decided to, like, pretty much incorporate fighting all the trainers in Blaine's battle into Blaine's gym into my my route, just because I really hate interacting with those machines. It's really annoying. It takes fucking forever, and a lot of these fights are not too long, right? So it's like, you know, you definitely lose time, but the text boxes take so long to fucking open the things anyway, and then one of them is just wrong. Again, Caterpie does not evolve into Butterfree, it evolves into Metapod, motherfucker, right? So I just boycott the whole system, fight all the guys, and now we're up against Blaine a couple levels higher because of the extra trainers, which to me, I totally think that that's just the way to go. And I've been trying to do Blaine before Sabrina, just as a matter of course, just because I feel like it's just Sabrina more often than not is more difficult than Blaine. And whatever, man. So go to Sabrina's gym. You can skip every trainer in Sabrina's gym if you want to. Super easy. And will I first try Sabrina? I usually lose against Sabrina at least once, but Thunderbolt is doing some impressive damage, even with my levels being, you know, not super high, higher than Sabrina, but not super high. And one try, like super easy. Wow, okay, great. So now we're going into the last gym. We're going to fight Giovanni once again, and for the final time. Now, once again, my Electrode really kind of just has normal moves and electric type moves, So fighting against Giovanni is going to be relatively difficult. And I'm a little scared, so I just kind of, you know, at this point I'm just mashing double team, Skull Bash, which is my main, you know, strong move right now, and Swift, seeing if that works. Again, I'm still considering, should I get Thunder at the power plant? I don't know. Thunder wouldn't help me against ground or rock, of course, but it would help, you know, get rid of Swift, doing something a little bit more powerful, take advantage of Electrode's special, you know, special stat. And so, again, this took a while because I'm just using normal moves, and Swift does have an ability where it doesn't ever miss, I think. Maybe it does have that 1 in 256 chance, but it really is super slow against guys like Rhydon, so I just decided to throw out the Venusaur and win. By the way, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I did teach Toxic to Venusaur, and that did end up actually coming in handy quite a bit later in the game, so... And now, again, that gets to where defining the rule set for something like this is a little... it's a little interesting. Because, like, should you, say, like, not rely on the extra Pokemon? Should you box them all going into the Elite Four? You know, is it really, truly Electrode's day in the sunlight if you're relying on a Venusaur to use Toxic and set up that kind of stuff? You know, it's skeptical on what the best... I'm skeptical, rather, on what the best method of approach there. I lose against this Alakazam. I get a little nervous. But then, you know, see how it goes. Thunderbolt. Okay. So the rival here, not super hard. My Electrode's actually pretty solid. It's got good defense, and it's got a lot of super effective moves against stuff like Gyarados, all that kind of stuff. Pidgeot. So I'm actually not too concerned about the champion at this point. But again, this is technically, it's a main Pokemon. It's not a, like, solo, one-off, independent, this is the only guy I'm using Pokemon run. So, to my opinion is, main does not mean exclusive. At some point, I may try the custom starter runs, where the only other Pokemon you're supposed to use is, like, for HM purposes. I might try that at some point, but right now, again, and here's the Elite Four. Lorelei, not super hard. I got Thunderbolt to rely on. I got Double Team, so, you know, Double Team is just so fucking good, man. Oh my god, you know, it's cheating. It's borderline cheating. It might even just not even be on the border. It's crossed the border legally, hopefully. But fuck it, illegally. Hopefully, fuck those border laws, man. Anyway, going up against Bruno here, not super difficult. And I forgot the other train of thought I was on, but I'm sure it was profound. Obviously, you can tell I chose not to go to the power plant. I chose not to get Thunder. I figured, you know what? 2 elixirs, that's another 20 PP points, power point points. That's another PPP for Thunderbolt, which is going to be the main thing I need to rely on in some of these instances. I was a little worried about the Onyxes. But, you know, whatever. It didn't pose to be that much of a problem. You could use Toxic on those guys. It's no big deal. Going into Agatha, I'm very, very not concerned at all with Agatha, because I think Electrode is actually, and I'm 56 matching this first Gengar, but I think Electrode is actually more than powerful enough to take down Agatha. I have to worry about my power points a little bit because, you know, I don't want to use too many Thunderbolts. I want to make sure I have enough for the last 2 guys. But again, Thunderbolt is the only way I can actually attack the Ghost types. This Golbat ends up really fucking me over, which is kind of a shame. But Electrode, fully healed, back in the fray, ready to go once again. You know, Thunderbolting these Haunters and the Gengars. But again, this is a round where I'm like, oh, yikes. You know, I'm kind of running low on PP. So I'm like, should I use an Elixir? Should I save it for after the fight? Am I even going to be able to win? And I'm like, I got 1 Thunderbolt left, and I'm like, fuck it, whatever, let's just get through this, easy peasy, take out the Haunter, lose again, you know, this is a speedrun in which you're allowed to use items, you're allowed to revive your guys. Some people may say that that's too easy. I honestly would agree with you, so I might do something more challenging in the future, but this is how I'm going to start off. This is the category I choose right now. And I managed to beat Agatha with a little bit more problems than I expected, so I was a little nervous at this point. I was like, yikes, I'm kind of scared. I'm a little nervous. I'm pretty sure I used my rare candies at some point, either before Agatha or after. I was kind of also titrating my rare candies throughout the run. I didn't mention it earlier. Lance is super easy, by the way, because of this fucking, you know, like, Hyper Beam, even still, I've got such high defense. It lands was super easy. I don't even need to comment on it. But I was titrating my rare candies. If I ended a battle with a level up, the last fight, the last Pokemon of a lineup in a battle was a level up, I would use a rare candy just to kind of get over that mid-game hump a little bit, and I try to minimize the waste. So if I ended a fight, the last Pokemon gave me a level up, I'd use a rare candy at some point in the middle of the game. So level 57 going into the champion fight. Again, I'm really not concerned about the Pidgeot. Super effective on Thunderbolt. Hit level 58, which resets your double team and all your stat boost, all that kind of stuff. So then against Alakazam, which I didn't really want to be doing, but against Alakazam, I decided to double team up. And Swift did some decent damage, so I saved some PP on Thunderbolt. And now here's Rhydon. Rhydon was my huge, like, eesh moment. But I was like, alright, as long as I can get Toxic in with Venusaur, that actually worked out really well. And then I was like, well, shit, I'm just going to wait till Venusaur loses. But then Rhydon kept using Leer, so I was like, well, fuck. And then, look at this. I beat Rhydon with a level 34 Venusaur. That was not intentional. And then I throw Fearow in there just to take the L. And Electrode. L for Electrode. Going back in to fight X-Egg Utor, not X-Egg Q-Tor. You know, they flip up that K in the middle. And this one was a little bit, my moves weren't doing that much damage. I was getting into a position where I kept getting thrown into a sleep. Here I was using the Poke Flute, which makes your Pokemon wake up. And, you know, I had 2 Pokemon that were asleep in my party. So when have you ever used the Poke Flute to wake up 2 guys at once? You know, it was actually kind of cool. Throw Electrode back out there. Double team. Just, you know, gotta boost my stats. Gotta boost them. The badge boosts, you know, just Skull Bash. I can't believe I ended this run with Skull Bash. I mean, Skull Bash, it does have that warm-up turn. And it does kind of suck. But it... I don't know what else to put, you know, the other option I was thinking of was Thunder, and that, you know, required a detour, and then this full restore. I was really getting into I was just pissed. I'll just be honest. I'll be frank. I'll be real with you for a moment. I was like, fuck, am I gonna lose? Because right now this is first try Elite Four, and I'm like, shit, falling asleep again? Poke Flute, fuck. But I do have a fuckload of items. And again, that's the thing with these kinds of runs is, you know, items are just super, like, they kind of just throw everything into your favor. It's kind of impossible to lose when you just have a bunch of items. So again, whether you can call it cheap, whatever, I don't know, man. That's up for you to decide. I take down the Executor, one shot to Gyarados, no big problem. And now for Charizard, double team just to be a little bit safe. Rage still hit me. I don't know how the fuck that happened. One shot with Thunderbolt. Level 59 Electrode has beaten the Elite Four, has become the most powerful champion in the entire Kanto region in just about 5 hours of real time. And if you look at the chart on my left here, or my right, actually, no, let's bring it back to the left. If you look at my chart on the left, you'll see that Electrode is actually my lowest level completion and my fastest completion of all time. And, you know, even though it's only my 6th run, it is still of all time. And what am I going to use next? You know, I haven't done a fishing Pokemon. I haven't done any legendaries. I don't know. Stay tuned. I'm gonna say 17 more times to hit my quota. And roll credits.